If an officer is directing traffic at a working traffic light, drivers should A. Follow the directions indicated by the traffic light. B. Follow the directions given by the officer. C. Honk at the officer. D. Check to see what the cars next to them are doing. B. Follow the directions given by the officer. Traffic signals are placed at intersections to keep traffic moving and to help prevent crashes. Drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists must obey these signals, except in instances when an officer is directing traffic. Highway markings? A. Are usually not important. B. Are only found in construction zones. C. Provide information for drivers. D. Are usually red and blue in color. C. Provide information for drivers. Highway markings provide information for drivers. Markings help drivers correctly position their vehicles on roadways, inform drivers of safe passing zones, and warn drivers about upcoming conditions. The effect that lack of sleep has on your safe driving ability is the same as A. The effect that alcohol has. B. The effect that amphetamines have. C. The effect that anger has. D. The effect that driving with teenagers has. A. The effect that alcohol has. Fatigue and being under the influence of alcohol have similar effects on your ability to drive safely. For example, being awake for 18 hours impairs your driving about as much as a blood alcohol level of 0.05%. Being awake for 24 hours in a row has the same effect on your driving as a blood alcohol level of 0.10%. A person who drives much slower than the speed limit? A. Is a very safe driver. B. Always has the right of way. C. Should not let following cars pass. D. May create a dangerous driving environment. D. May create a dangerous driving environment. Driving more slowly than the flow of traffic can be hazardous. If you are on a two-lane, two-way road and driving so slowly that traffic is backing up behind you, you are required to pull off the road and let the other vehicles pass. Only drive significantly under the speed limit when conditions require it. To check your blind spot when changing lanes to the left, you should glance A. Over your right shoulder. B. At your side mirror. C. Over your left shoulder. D. At your rearview mirror. C. Over your left shoulder. To check your blind spot, glance over your shoulder in the direction that you want to move. A solid white line down the center of a two-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. White lines are used to separate traffic moving in the same direction. Solid lines indicate that drivers are not permitted to pass. You must yield for emergency vehicles? A. Under no circumstances. B. When you see a flashing red or blue light or hear a siren. C. Only when other vehicles yield. D. None of the above. B. When you see a flashing red or blue light or hear a siren. You must yield the right of way to any emergency vehicle that is using its siren or flashing lights. This sign means A. Trucks only. B. Trucks are entering the highway. C. Upcoming hill. D. Trucks have the right of way. C. Upcoming hill. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign indicates that drivers are approaching a steep hill and should prepare to adjust their speeds to continue to drive safely. Which of the following is true about driving on a wet roadway? A. As you drive faster, your tires become less effective. B. Water does not affect cars with good tires. C. Deep water is less dangerous than shallow water. D. As you decrease your speed, the roadway becomes more slippery. A. As you drive faster, your tires become less effective. The faster you drive on a wet roadway, the less effective your tires will be at wiping the water from the road. If your speed becomes excessive enough, your tires will lose their grip on the road entirely and you will begin to hydroplane, that is, to slide down the road on a film of water. On long trips, you can prevent drowsiness by A. Turning on your car radio. B. Slowing down. C. Stopping at regular intervals for a rest. D. Moving your eyes from side to side as you drive. C. Stopping at regular intervals for a rest. To prevent drowsiness on long trips, you should schedule regular stops. Give yourself time to rest and stretch, even if you are not feeling tired. Drive below the posted speed limit when A. Anything makes conditions less than perfect. B. You see a police car. C. Entering a highway where there are other cars. D. You are on a 4-lane road. A. Anything makes conditions less than perfect. When the road is wet or slippery, when you cannot see well, or when anything else makes conditions less than perfect, drive below the posted speed limit. Even if you are driving within the posted speed limit, you can still be ticketed for driving too fast for conditions. The consumption of alcohol while taking drugs can A. Decrease the effects of the drugs and alcohol. B. Increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. C. Help cure your illness. D. Improve your driving ability. B. Increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. The combination of alcohol and drugs, in some cases, can increase the effects of both the drugs and alcohol. It can be unsafe to drive after consuming either alcohol or drugs and is even more dangerous after combining them. Highway hypnosis is a driving condition that can result from A. Staring at the roadway for long periods of time. B. Frequent rest stops. C. Too much sleep the night before your trip. D. Short trips on expressways. A. Staring at the roadway for long periods of time. Highway hypnosis happens when you stare straight ahead at the roadway for long periods of time and stop actively scanning ahead, behind, and around your vehicle. This can lead you to zone out, making you very likely to crash into traffic slowing or stopping ahead of you. A red traffic signal light means that you must A. Stop at the stop line. B. Stop before entering any crosswalk. C. Stop before entering the intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. A red traffic light means that you must stop before entering the intersection. You must at any stop line and before entering any crosswalk. A flashing yellow light at an intersection means that you should A. Slow down and proceed with care. B. Continue normally through the intersection. C. Stop and proceed when a green light appears. D. Stop and proceed when the way is clear. A. Slow down and proceed with care. A flashing yellow light at an intersection means caution. If you approach such a light, slow down, look, and proceed with care. What might happen when alcohol is combined with another drug? A. The effects of the alcohol and the drug may both be increased. B. Nothing will happen. C. The effects of the alcohol and the drug may both be reduced. D. The effects of only the alcohol may be reduced. A. The effects of the alcohol and the drug may both be increased. Consuming both alcohol and another drug may enhance the effects of both. For example, taking one drink when you are also using a cold remedy could affect you as if you have had several drinks. A speed limit is A. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under dangerous conditions. B. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. C. The suggested speed to travel on a road under ideal conditions. D. None of the above. B. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. A speed limit is the maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. You may drive more slowly than the posted speed, but it is illegal to drive any faster. You must drive more slowly where signs or signs indicate a school zone or work zone speed limit. If conditions such as road construction or bad weather make the posted speed unsafe, drive under the speed limit. This sign means A. Trucks under 18,000 pounds. Allowed. B. Hill ahead. C. Truck stop ahead. D. No trucks allowed. B. Hill ahead. This sign warns that there is a steep hill ahead. If you reach an intersection where you wish to turn but you are not in the proper lane, you should A. Quickly cut across traffic to make your turn. B. Turn on your blinker and make the turn from your current lane. C. Drive to the next intersection and make your turn then. D. Safely change lanes then put your vehicle in reverse to go back to the intersection. C. Drive to the next intersection and make your turn then. Never make last-minute turns. If you reach an intersection where you wish to turn but you are not in the proper lane to make the turn, drive to the next intersection and then make the turn from the proper lane. This road sign means A. Sharp turn to the right. B. Double curve. C. Winding road. D. Pavement ends. C. Winding road. This sign indicates that the road ahead winds with a series of turns or curves. A diamond-shaped sign is A. Road hazard sign. B. Interstate route sign. C. School crossing sign. D. Speed limit sign. A. Road hazard sign. Warning signs are normally diamond-shaped and yellow, although orange warning signs are used in work areas. Such signs warn that you are approaching a hazardous location or an area where special rules apply. An inattentive driver is a driver who A. Stares at objects off the roadway or daydreams while driving. B. Maintains eye contact during a conversation with a passenger while driving. C. Only watches the vehicle ahead of their vehicle. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Do not become distracted by looking at passengers, attempting to find something in your vehicle, looking at reading material, sightseeing, or daydreaming while driving. Continue scanning the road, checking your mirrors, and looking at the instrument panel at regular intervals. Developing these safe habits will keep you attentive as a driver. You approach an emergency vehicle that is stopped with its lights flashing. You must A. Slow down. If possible, change lanes so you will not drive next to the stopped emergency vehicle. B. Drive to the right side of the road and stop. C. Stay in your lane and continue to drive at the same speed. D. Accelerate to quickly pass the stopped vehicle. A. Slow down. If possible, change lanes so you will not drive next to the stopped emergency vehicle. If you approach an emergency vehicle, tow truck, or roadside assistance vehicle that is stopped with its lights flashing, you must change lanes to allow the vehicle extra space. If there is only one lane moving in your direction, or if changing lanes would be unsafe, you must slow down to a speed below the posted speed limit and give the stationary vehicle as much room as possible. Always slow down and be prepared to stop when you approach an emergency scene. Don't follow other cars too closely because A. You may not see the road between the cars. B. You may not have time to stop if the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly. C. You may not see the vehicle's turn signals. D. You may not see the other vehicle's brake lights. B. You may not have time to stop if the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly. If you follow too closely and the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly, you may not have enough time to avoid a collision. What does an orange-colored sign indicate? A. The start of a no-passing zone. B. A railroad crossing is ahead. C. A school zone is ahead. D. The presence of construction work. D. The presence of construction work. Construction, maintenance, and emergency operations signs are generally orange with black symbols. What should you do when you are going to enter a roadway from a private road? A. Blow your horn to warn cars you are entering the roadway. B. Stop with part of your car on the roadway to alert other drivers. C. Drive out fast to merge smoothly with the traffic. D. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians and roadway traffic. D. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians and roadway traffic. When entering a roadway from a driveway or private road, you must yield the right-of-way to pedestrians and traffic on the roadway. When approaching a traffic signal displaying a steady yellow arrow, drivers A. Should merge into a lane in the direction of the arrow. B. Should slow to a stop, if it is safe to do so. C. May turn left after yielding to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. D. Have the right of way and may expect oncoming traffic to stop for them. B. Should slow to a stop, if it is safe to do so. A steady yellow arrow indicates that a red arrow is about to appear. Stop unless you are already within the intersection. A traffic light displaying a green arrow and a red light means that A. You may only drive straight ahead. B. You may drive only in the direction of the green arrow. C. You must wait for a solid green light to proceed in any direction. D. Vehicles moving in any direction must stop. B. You may drive only in the direction of the green arrow. If a green arrow is shown with a red light, you can only drive in the direction of the arrow and only if the intersection is clear. From the center lane, which maneuvers can you perform? A. You may make left turns. B. You may make U-turns. C. You may pass slow-moving traffic. D. All of the above. A. You may make left turns. This sign indicates where a lane is reserved for the exclusive use of left-turning vehicles from either direction. Such a lane may not be used for passing or for through traffic. The sign with this shape and color is a fill in the blank sign. A. No passing zone. B. Wrong way. C. Railroad crossing. D. Stop. A. No passing zone. Pennant-shaped warning signs like this are only used to indicate a no passing zone. When sharing the road with a truck, it is important to remember that trucks generally A. Require longer distances to stop than smaller vehicles do. B. Require less time to pass on a downgrade than smaller vehicles do. C. Require a smaller turning radius than smaller vehicles do. D. Require less time to pass on an incline than smaller vehicles do. A. Require longer distances to stop than smaller vehicles do. Because of their size, trucks need longer distances to stop than smaller vehicles do. If you pass a school bus that is stopped to drop off or pick up children, you will A. Be fined at least $165. B. Be fined less than $100. C. Not be fined, but your license will be suspended. D. Face no legal consequences. A. Be fined at least $165. Drivers must come to a complete stop when approaching a school bus that is stopped with its lights flashing. Failure to stop until the lights stop flashing will result in a fine of at least $165. Passing a bus on the side where its door is located will result in a fine of at least $265. Additional penalties will apply. Unless otherwise posted, the speed limit is fill in the blank on streets and highways. A. 70 miles per hour. B. 55 miles per hour. C. 45 miles per hour. D. 30 miles per hour. B. 55 miles per hour. Unless otherwise posted, the speed limit on streets and highways is 55 miles per hour. If a posted sign indicates otherwise, follow the speed limit on the posted sign. This sign means A. Merging traffic. B. Multiple turns. C. Lane shifting. D. Do not block intersection. A. Merging traffic. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to potential traffic merging from the right. Drivers should prepare to allow the traffic to merge safely. When approaching a steady red traffic light, drivers should A. Drive through the intersection if there is no crossing traffic. B. Continue driving, as they have the right of way. C. Stop only if a police officer is nearby. D. Come to a complete stop. D. Come to a complete stop. A steady red traffic light indicates that drivers must come to a complete stop. Driving through a red light is against the law and is extremely dangerous. Drivers may turn right on a steady red light if there is no sign prohibiting a turn on red. Fines for moving traffic violations in construction zones are A. Lessened. B. Doubled. C. Unchanged. D. Non-existent. B. Doubled. In Florida, fines are doubled when infractions occur within construction zones. There will also be possible civil penalties of up to $1,000 and you can be required to complete a driving school course. If two vehicles arrive to an uncontrolled intersection at the same time? A. The largest vehicle has the right of way. B. The car on the left has the right of way. C. The car on the left shall yield to the car on the right. D. The car on the right shall yield to the car on the left. C. The car on the left shall yield to the car on the right. If two vehicles arrive at the same time to an uncontrolled intersection, the driver on the left must yield to the driver on the right. The driver on the left may then proceed when it is safe to do so. This sign means A. Narrow bridge ahead. B. Lane ends or roadway narrows ahead. C. Industrial area. D. Freeway on-ramp ahead. B. Lane ends or roadway narrows ahead. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign warns drivers that the right lane is ending or that the road is narrowing ahead. The driver's left arm and hand are extended upward. This hand signal means that the driver plans to A. Turn left. B. Turn right. C. Come to a stop. D. Go straight ahead. B. Turn right. If a driver's left arm and hand are extended upward, they are indicating that they intend to turn right. Adjust your driving accordingly if following a driver who is using this hand signal. This road sign means A. Cars in right lane must slow down. B. No left turn. C. Merge. D. Pass only in the right lane. C. Merge. This sign indicates a merge ahead. It warns that two lanes of traffic moving in the same direction are about to become one. It is best to keep a space cushion? A. Only in back of your vehicle. B. Only on the left and right sides of your vehicle. C. Only in front of the vehicle. D. On all sides of the vehicle. D. On all sides of the vehicle. To ensure that you will have time to react to hazards on the roadway, it is best to keep a cushion of space on all sides of your vehicle. Do not crowd vehicles to your left and right sides. You may legally drive 10 miles per hour over the speed limit? A. At all times. B. When passing another vehicle. C. In light traffic conditions. D. Under no circumstances. D. Under no circumstances. Speeding is against the law. You must obey the speed limit and you are responsible for knowing the speed limit when you are driving. The speeding buffer is a myth. You are not allowed to drive up to 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. The most important thing to remember about speed management and curves is that you must A. Drive at the posted speed limit as you enter the curve, then slow down at the sharpest part of the curve. B. Slow down before you enter the curve. C. Accelerate gently before you enter the curve. D. Drive at the posted speed limit before, throughout, and after the curve. B. Slow down before you enter the curve. The most important thing to remember about driving in curves is that your vehicle's inertia may make it difficult to turn. To maintain control, it is essential that you slow down before entering the curve. When driving to an unfamiliar area, you A. Should depend on road signs to find your way. B. Should plan your trip in advance. C. Only have to know generally where your destination is. D. Should always choose the most direct route. B. Should plan your trip in advance. When driving to an unfamiliar area, plan your trip in advance. Don't start with only a hazy idea of where you are going. If your destination is in an unfamiliar area, check the location on a map before you start to drive. While driving, your wheels slip off the edge of the road. You should A. Jerk the steering wheel to force the vehicle back onto the pavement. B. Speed up and steer back onto the pavement gradually. C. Slam on your brakes and stop. D. Slow down by gently using the brakes. Turn the steering wheel to return to the pavement at a safe speed. D. Slow down by gently using the brakes. Turn the steering wheel to return to the pavement at a safe speed. If your vehicle begins to leave the road, continue to drive with the wheels off the pavement and reduce your speed by gently applying the brakes. When at a safe speed, turn the steering wheel to return to the pavement. Do not attempt to force your vehicle back onto the pavement by sharply turning the steering wheel. When turning left, drivers must yield the right-of-way to A. Other drivers who are already in the intersection. B. Oncoming traffic. C. Pedestrians who are already in the intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When turning left, drivers must yield the right-of-way to oncoming traffic. Drivers must also always yield the right-of-way to pedestrians, bicyclists, and other drivers who are already in the intersection. What kinds of drugs can affect your driving ability? A. Allergy medicine. B. Marijuana. C. Cold remedies. D. All of these choices. D. All of these choices. Many kinds of drugs can impair your ability to drive. This includes illegal drugs and legal prescription or over-the-counter medications. It can be a criminal offense to drive while impaired by any drug. This road sign means A. The road ahead curves right. Slow down to the safe speed indicated. B. Divided highway begins. Slow down to the safe speed indicated. C. Merge. Slow down to the safe speed indicated. D. Winding road ahead. Slow down to the safe speed indicated. A. The road ahead curves right. Slow down to the safe speed indicated. These signs indicate that the road curves to the right ahead and that drivers should slow down to the safe speed indicated, in this case, 35 miles per hour. You may cross solid yellow lines. A. To pass traffic moving in the same direction. B. During daylight hours only. C. At any time. D. When making turns. D. When making turns. As a general rule, broken traffic lines may be crossed but solid lines may not. Solid yellow lines may be crossed only when the driver is making a turn. When two vehicles enter an intersection from different highways at the same time, which vehicle must yield the right-of-way? A. Either one. B. The vehicle on the left. C. The vehicle on the right. D. Neither. B. The vehicle on the left. At intersections that are controlled by signs or signals and at intersections that are uncontrolled, the driver on the left must yield the right-of-way to the driver on the right when two vehicles arrive to the intersection at the same time.